the reason why I choose this video to show you is that we have an interesting vascularization over the previous prosthesis which I used 25 years ago. I put this TORP for a revision stapes operation, and there was an eroded incus, so I put a TORP, a total prosthesis with a Hydoxyapatite head. And what you can see here is that the prosthesis is there, but probably too short. We're going to check that in a minute. But interesting view of this vascularization, the vessels running over the prosthesis, and you can see the blood here running over. So it's pretty interesting to see that. I just wanted to show you this, to show you how the Hydoxyapatite material looks really nice in terms of biocompatibility. Okay, right, so of course now we need to dissect and remove these prostheses. But first I need to check the round window side. Which is there, but I think it's pretty close. Okay, alright. Allez, canne manche du marteau. Yeah, there's a lack of tension here, which is responsible for the recurrent airborne gap. 3 de choux, s'il vous plaît. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I will remove this prosthesis now and put a new one. Le crochet aussi, s'il vous plaît. Okay, there we go. So we have Hydoxyapatite head and Teflon shaft, and you can see that I relocated the malleus cannelé during the previous operation, and I'm going to check the mobility, but it's for sure it's fine. And the beauty is that it's stable in a good position here. The relocated malleus is still mobile and still in a good position overlying the stapes footplate area. So what I need to do now is to measure. What we can see here is that we have the vein graft, which is right in the middle. The previous vein graft still there and still active. Another interesting point to see that you can see here the perinfantine membrane and the vein graft, which is there and still very interestingly alive. Okay, so measures. I will measure now the distance from malleus to footplate. The previous prosthesis was cut at 6 mm, and I definitely think that it was a little bit too short. Yeah, here we have 6 mm, which means 6.5, because I need to take into account the deepness of the groove of the prosthesis. But I need to perform. Pouvez monter la table, s'il vous plaît? I need to perform a new fenestra now. Stop through the previous vein graft, and I will drill out this fenestra with the macro drill. La fraise, s'il vous plaît.
De combien faut que je mette?
7. Okay, so we focus on the previous vein graft over the fenestra. So I'm using now 0.7 millimeter diamond dust burr, performing 0.8 fenestra. So I had to change the burr, which was having a kind of a problem, so we do it now again, the fenestra with the microdrill. This is using a 0.7 millimeter diamond burr, and in fact I use it just like the same way as I'm performing the fenestra for the real footplate. So it's going to be fine now. We have a nice vision of the flute, so it's done. That's good enough for me. You see the fenestra. Okay, that's absolutely fine now. That's good enough. And I'm going to put the vein graft over the fenestra, of course, because of course that is very important to have another sealing, because I'm going to use of course a TORP, so I don't want to have any risk of protrusion of the prosthesis within the labyrinth. So this is why I always perform a new vein graft deposition. In all cases, of course, but I mean, in terms of using a TORP, I definitely think it's really mandatory. So I pre-shape the vein here before at the beginning of the operation, and now I'm going to take it. We're facing the we are facing the intima of the vein. On the other side, we have the adventitial side, which is the sticky side. So I'm bringing it to with the middle here with the sucker, and I'm going to stretch it over the fenestra. There we go. This is the place where the fenestra is. And now I'm going to cut the prosthesis at the corresponding length, which is 6.5 millimeter, which will give a better tension, and I think the sound conduction will be better. Okay, that is the new, I mean it's not new now, but compared to the previous one, which I developed more than 20 years ago, because the previous operation was performed 25 years ago. The only difference is the shape of the head with the groove at the center of the prosthesis, because of course since then I developed the malleus relocation technique. The previous prosthesis, as we show you, has a off-centered groove. So I'm going to cut it at 6.5, a little bit more than 6.5 in fact. And I will now introduce the prosthesis with the sucker. The first step will be to place the shaft in its good position within the fenestra. And Alright, so I will introduce the shaft first, like this. Alright, and then what I need to do now is to introduce the malleus within the groove. Cannet. Préparez-moi le crochet s'il vous plaît. So you see the position of the groove, which is placed parallel to the malleus handle, and now I will elevate the malleus, pull the malleus with the hook, and introduce the prosthesis underneath the malleus handle, or introduce I think the malleus within the groove in fact. Now it's much better, we have a much better tension, there's no more lack of energy here, no more tilting, which was the case before. You see it's vertical, and for sure it's going to work fine and better, closing the residual recurrent airborne gap on the high pitch frequencies, which is interesting because it's always like this. We have an eroded incus, when we have eroded incus, we have, in my experience, airborne gap more on the high frequencies, and that's the same with this type of problem. Alright, it's fine, so let me show you before putting the real cell. Because I just want to show you the difference between the previous one and the one I placed now. Same type of prosthesis with Teflon shaft, 0.4 millimeter for both prostheses, but you see the groove is off-centered in this prosthesis and not deep enough compared to what we have with the new one. So the new one is, the second one is more stable in my experience. So interesting. And since I developed the malleus relocation, the malleus becomes in the middle of the over window area, allez-y. So in the center of the middle, over window area. So of course, then we have to put a prosthesis on a vertical position. So we don't need, of course, off-centered groove. All right. Thanks very much for watching. Interesting case with this blood running over the prosthesis head. Thanks very much, and see you again soon. Bye bye.